Apple has become the latest company to bestow faith in brand Bharat or brand India. The atmosphere in Mumbai was electric as the tech giant opened its first retail store in India. Long queues of customers, and you can see some of them. Loud cheers and selfies marked the new chapter of Apple in India. Apple CEO himself cut the ribbon, threw open the gates of the store for the fans. Its second retail store in India is set to open in the national capital soon, Thursday to be precise, the day after. And we'll take a quick look at this report.
Well, definitely, Radhika, as you can see in the visuals as well, a lot of excitement here at BKC Apple Store. A new flagship Apple Store is launched today. People are very happy. You can feel the pulse of the movement. Even the Apple team, which is inside the store, they are dancing on Maharashtrian songs and Hindi songs, and traditional dance and everything is going on. So definitely, and long.
Well, viewers, Tim Cook has come out and said the energy, creativity and passion in Mumbai is incredible. We are so excited to open Apple BKC, our first store in India. Now, remember, viewers, the world seems to be quite bullish on Bharat. In 2004-2014, the total FDI in India over a span of 10 years stood at about $305 billion. But between 2014 and 2022, we've attracted $524 billion. There are lots of very big businessmen as well as ratings agencies, the CEOs of massive MNCs, as well as the IMF, who have said that India is the fastest growing economy. And there are many graphics that we've prepared, and I'm sure the production team will fire them. There you can see some of those comments, several of them up there. Viewers, we also know that over the last few years, there have been a large number of individuals who've come out and said that India is facing its worst ever economic crisis. This is Rahul Gandhi in September 2022. The country is heading to a disaster. P. Chidambaram in January 23 said India will step into a world of uncertainty. Government yet to realize that things are not under its control. Supriya Srinate, a Congress leader, said government's gross negligence led economy to ruin. Government in denial that country's growth is slowing. And of course, there have been other naysayers, viewers, doomsayers, who've said that because the democratic index is collapsing, people are going to be put off. Foreign businesses won't come to India to invest. So let's put this to the test. Let me ask a few questions. First of all, Sanjay Jha, Jahangir Ali and Karan Bhasin, New York-based economist, also joining us, P.K. Basu this evening. P.K. Basu, economist and author, what do we make of this shift? I mean, I have some statistics here of the number of companies that have come into India, the number of companies that have left other democracies over the last 1 year to invest elsewhere. Is this really an endorsement of the energy, the creativity and the sustainability of our growth, or is this just happening because people have been swayed by Mr. Modi, or perhaps, as many others say, bought over by Mr. Modi?
Well, I mean, the simple fact is that the Indian economy is the fastest growing in the world. In 6 of the last 9 years, India has been the fastest growing economy in the world. And those are the first 6 years of the last 75 in which India was the fastest growing economy in the world, at least fastest growing among the G20, the 20 largest economies in the world. So that is obviously something that is attracting interest around the world. The fact that India is relatively stable, if you look at the economy, external debt to GDP is only 19%.
Right.
India has deleveraged over the last 8 or 9 years, and that deleveraging positions India remarkably well in this global downturn. We have a huge recession about to hit the Western world, but India is an island of stability. and real GDP growth is well ahead of 7%.
But Bloomberg,
in the last fiscal year, I think it'll be ahead of 7% in the next fiscal year.
Okay.
And that
Bloomberg
those
has said
numbers
India has
are
zero
striking
probability
in a world in which most others are decelerating.
Okay. Well, viewers, I'm passionate about India's growth story. So I'm going to quote a few statistics. Bloomberg survey says India has zero probability of slipping into recession. IMF, April 2023, India to remain fastest growing economy in the world. Sanjay Jha, how is all this happening if Modi is a disaster, if all our taxes are handed over to capitalists who he has got on direct dial and he buddies up to? And how is this happening if India is collapsing as a democracy and has zero rule of law and all sorts of other scenarios that are painted routinely by your political party? And I just quoted three of your leaders, Sanjay Jha.
Okay, Rahul, it so happens that I'm also a student of economics.
Good.
And I can tell you this, to claim that you're the fastest growing economy in the world after the country witnessed the biggest collapse of any country in the G20 after the pandemic, obviously the base itself becomes so small. So I think this kind of triumphalism is absolutely preposterous. By the way, let me tell you something else. India is not the fastest growing economy in the world in the G20. It is actually Saudi Arabia. I'm just fact checking the gentleman who spoke before me. The other point, he claims that India was the fastest over the last 6 years, in the last 10 years. The truth is, pre-pandemic, India's GDP growth had already collapsed to 4%. What are we talking about? The most important point, Rahul, the one indicator on which there is no debate all over the world as to the health of the
last
economy.
9 years, India is the fastest growing in the world.
Excuse me, sir, I didn't interrupt you.
Let
Let
me
me
finish. 6 of the last 9
finish.
years and 6 of the last 75.
The biggest indicator of the health of an economy is jobs. It's very interesting that we are talking about Steve Jobs' Apple, and I'll give you one data that will tell you why the BJP tries to make a propaganda of everything. This is Apple's 520th Apple store. It is in over 25 countries and 6 continents already. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very late to the party.
That
and
doesn't
most
matter.
importantly,
They've come to the party.
Rahul,
There
just
is
one
a
last
party.
point. One last point and I'm done. The government has spent a lot of money on a scheme called the Production Incentive Linked Scheme. Ask the BJP spokesperson, where are the jobs in manufacturing of electronics, in mobile manufacturing,
Okay.
and
Sanju
in
Verma is raring to answer you.
Less than 5%.
Okay.
Less than 5%.
Let me get her in. Okay,
Yes.
respond to him.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul. Rahul, I'll just quickly say a couple of things because I think the data speaks for itself. As a Mumbaikar, I'm very proud that, Apple chose to open its first store in India at BKC today. And the second one, I believe, is coming up on the 20th, this Thursday at Saket in New Delhi.
China has 50 stores already, madam.
May I please finish, Sanjay Jha? I did not heckle you. Now please listen. Don't, heckle me for no rhyme or reason. I will just give you some statistics. It took India 60 years to become a $1 trillion economy. It took India another 12 years to hit the $2 trillion mark. But we added $1.5 trillion roughly in just about 7 to 8 years of the Narendra Modi government. As recently as about 2016, our GDP was $2.2 trillion. And I'm quoting 2016 because that was the year in which demonetization happened, because that's a favorite hunting ground for most Congresses. And as we speak today, India's GDP is $3.5 trillion, which means that barely in the last 6 or 7 years, the GDP in absolute terms has risen by 59%, point number one. And speaking of the PLI scheme, I just want to say that the production-linked incentive scheme is the reason today manufacturing as a percentage of GDP in India is close to 17 to 18%. Manufacturing as a percentage of GDP when we took over was barely 10 to 11%.
Okay.
Which means that please hold your horses. And I'll
want to
tell you why
fact-check
the
the data,
manufacturing
Rahul.
number is
Sanjay
very
Jha,
important.
please. Wait, look, there
Sanjay
are damn
Jha.
lies and statistics. You've quoted your bunch. Let her have her say.
Let me
Okay,
quote.
please.
And I'll tell you why the manufacturing number is very important. Globally, it is a benchmark that whenever manufacturing as a percentage of GDP becomes 20 or 22 or 25%, you are technically classified as a developed economy, and we will do that in as recently as 2027. And I will just say one thing, Rahul, one thing. You know, when the COVID pandemic started, and I think this is the biggest vindication of Make in India.
Okay.
We had 2 testing laboratories. Today we have more than 3,000 testing laboratories. When Narendra Modi came to power, we had 2 mobile manufacturing units. Today we have more than 220 mobile
Sentiment
manufacturing
more than
units.
statistics. Let's emphasize
Rahul, can I
sentiment.
please finish?
No,
Give
I
me
understand
10
because
seconds
you
at
could
least.
spend the whole evening. You're very, very
I
well
will
versed.
just take 10 seconds.
Okay, 10
seconds, please.
Okay.
Half the data
I
is
will just give
statistics.
3 examples. 3 examples that vindicate the Make in India pushed by Narendra Modi. Samsung was in India since 2007, but it was in 2018 that Samsung set up its largest mobile manufacturing facility in the world. Where? In Noida. The government at the center, Narendra Modi.
Okay.
Amazon was in India since 2013, but it was in 2019. Thanks to the FDI push, Amazon set up its largest retail.
So let me bring in Karan Bhasin.
Where?
Sentiment drives investment also. We are told continuously that the sentiment about India around the world has soured to the point where people think of us as a pariah. In fact, Rahul Gandhi was at Oxford or wherever he was in England praying to the foreign world to come and intervene. So, have we got this wrong? Who has got it wrong?
Rahul,
Karan Bhasin.
Thank you for having me this evening. I just want to begin with a quick point that, economic interest, when it aligns, it aligns so much that even the naysayers have to kind of reassess what they're saying. And very soon we'll have these naysayers reassess, all the talk about sentiment and, things going down south, etc. All of that would basically be behind at the back of their mind and not even be a part of the decision-making process, because the economic incentive to be in India is so large and so enormous. If we talk about 3 key trends globally which are affecting the advanced economies, it's demographics. Basically the world is aging. India has the largest English-speaking college-educated workforce today. Then there's a consumption peak which has happened in many parts of the world. India, relatively has a much lower carbon intensity growth process. And the third, of course, is the clean energy push where India seems to be leading. So all these things align forward for a more inclusive, robust growth path. And what Sanjay is saying, why is it happening now?
2 experts can bandy statistics at each other and pick
his
holes.
data.
No, 1 second, please. I'm wrapping up. I've run out of time. Please. And I have Jahangir Ali. I couldn't even go to him, and I deeply apologize to you, Mr. Ali. Sorry about this. Just ran out of time, got caught up in a crossfire there, as you could see, and I'm sorry about that. Please do accept my apologies tonight. But viewers, let me very quickly tell you, sentiment. Let's focus on sentiment. The sentiment seems to be bullish. And look at any macro indicator, and you will perhaps be able to join the dots. I leave it at this.